Hello. So I have a big event, I guess you could call it that. Um, we bought a house. Well, not a house, it's actually an apartment. We bought a home, let's say a home. I've been renting, or we've been renting for the last, all my life. I've never owned my home before. But we've been renting this particular house where we are for about 4.5 years. And so we just signed the, I don't know what you call it, the unconditional agreement. And so we're going to be moving into our new home in less than 1 month. And so the hard part of that, obviously, is the moving process. And that's made harder by having a shitload of CDs. And so I've started packing. There's 2 boxes there, that one and this one. But that's about 1,000, just over 1,000 CDs there. Oh, shit, that's out there as well. And I've also got some downstairs, probably about, I can't remember, that square, that's not showing it. Probably about a few hundred downstairs as well. And maybe even harder than that is going to be the shelving unit. This thing, this black thing. Because that isn't particularly strong. It's actually quite flimsy. Like it holds the CDs fine. Like I remember reading, I think I asked advice on the New Zealand CD appreciation Facebook page about it because a few people have got the same thing. And the consensus is that it's fine if you don't have to move it. But it's a pain in the ass to move, and it's not like the way it's constructed, it's kind of in 2 pieces. There's this join here. And so if you try and move it as one, it's almost like kind of like a very, like almost like snap kind of, and you can't disassemble it. Like the join part, once you join it, it would be very hard to take to pieces and put back together again. So that's going to be interesting, whether it survives the journey or not. I think I paid about $200 for it. So if it doesn't survive, it's not the end of the world. Not that I want to spend $200, but we have some budget set aside for furniture in our new place. And I guess $200 is going to go to a new CD shelving unit where, we can, I can stomach that. But the other thing is obviously putting these into boxes. I just went and bought some boxes from Stationery Warehouse. But I learned this when I moved here 4.5 years ago from where I was living before this, is that putting them into a big box isn't a good idea. Like say like getting like a box, that's, I don't know, that's going to fit hundreds of CDs into it. It's just, it's too heavy to lift, is for one. And a box, or you really need a super strong box. So you kind of need like this type thing here, kind of these flatter boxes that has one layer. Or those kind of plastic tray type boxes, but then you got to spend, those are expensive. So I'm currently buying just for a moving or these plastic tray. The moving process, we're getting a moving company to help us, but not everything. I imagine they'll take the big stuff, the furniture, like the shelving unit, but the actual clothes and our actual possessions, I'll probably be moving those myself. So it's going to be interesting and difficult, I imagine. I'm kind of putting it off a little bit. I should really start packing these things gradually. And I will. Like I said, I bought some boxes, but I'm kind of trying to think of the best way to attack this. So yeah, I'd be curious if anyone has had to move hundreds or thousands of CDs in a house move. How did you do it? What was the best way to do it? I guess there's no magic way, is it? Just going to buy a shitload of boxes. Don't pack the boxes too heavy and just carry them. There's no I guess no kind of secret trick. But yeah, so in the next month I will be filming from a new location, and that's kind of exciting because I don't know what the housing situation is like where you are. I think this is a pretty common thing in the Anglosphere around the world, and maybe even not even just the Anglosphere. Is that housing prices has just kind of exponentially increased to the point that it is quite difficult unless you come from a family that can afford to help you, or you have a very well-paying job. It's quite hard to get into your own home. And there's many reasons for that: structural, economic reasons, social reasons, and all sorts of other things that are kind of beyond my understanding. But it's I grew up here where I live now, and I grew up in a family with, my parents had 6 kids, so it was a big family. My dad was a mechanic. My mum was kind of, I guess, what you call a homemaker because she had 6 kids, and they managed to buy a house, no problem, and live a pretty comfortable life. We weren't super rich or anything. You know, my dad, like I said, my dad was a mechanic, but we got along fine. You know, we lived a comfortable life, like the same as all my friends did when I was growing up. Now, in 2025, the thought of a mechanic supporting a family of 6, or so a family of actually of 8, but I mean of 6 kids, would be unthinkable. It would not be possible. And then on top of that, of buying a house would just be, you know, be a fantasy. So things have changed in my lifetime. Things have changed a lot. And whereas in my family, it's just me, my wife, and my son, and me and my wife both work full-time jobs. I'm a shift worker, and that kind of, you know, is good and bad, but it, you know, kind of, it gives me decent pay. I'll say decent. It's not amazing, but it's decent. But even with that, just one kid, it's a struggle. And so for a while, you know, I didn't think we'd be able to buy our own home because I'm getting older. We're all getting older, and it's kind of like, I'm 45 next year, and kind of a mortgage is 30 years. I know you can get shorter mortgages, but you tend to be about 30-year terms. And so by the time I finish paying that off at 45, I'm going to be 75. You know, hopefully the idea is to kind of smash it out as fast as possible. And that is what we're going to try and do. But still, but it's taken that long to kind of get to this position where we had a decent deposit and yeah, so I'm happy that I can provide some sort of stable basis, especially for my son. You know, because renting and moving around and just not having the certainty of a home, and in New Zealand, the worst thing, and I know that because I've lived in other countries, I've rented in other countries, and they didn't do this, but in New Zealand, the landlord, well, it depends on how it's structured, but ours, we've got a property manager, so the landlord owns it, and they delegate this to the property manager. Every 3 months, every 12 weeks, the property manager comes and does an inspection of your house to check you haven't damaged anything, or check, you know, just the condition, which is really quite undignified, or I can't really describe what it is. Having someone come and like walk around your house and check it to see it's clean and stuff every 3 months it doesn't feel good. And so I don't know, it's just annoying. It's more what it is. You got to kind of go through this process every 3 months, and it's like, I've been living here for 4.5 years. I've never been a day late on rent. I've never been a day late on paying any of the other bills associated, like water rates and things like that. You've come here, God knows how many times in those 4.5 years. It's never had any problem, never damaged anything. you think get to a certain point where they say, okay, yeah, we can trust you. We don't need to come and fucking traipse through your house and like you're a little kid every 3 months. But apparently it's an insurance thing. Like to get landlord insurance, the insurance company deems necessary for those 12 weekly inspections. You think, well, other countries don't have this. I lived in an apartment in South Korea for 2 different apartments, but one of them was there for 4 years. 5 years, actually. I was there for 5 years. Never saw the landlord once. Actually, I saw the landlord once when our water boiler broke. And they came with the guy, the repairman, to change and put a new one in. Never inspected anything, never checked anything, never. Because it's like it's your home. Having some stranger come through your home, it's just like it's not. It's bullshit. And I'm sure landlords would say, well, it's my investment and my property and I have the right. Well, yes, but there has to be some sort of middle ground, surely, where both parties can kind of, like I said, I can understand initial inspections, maybe for the first year, every 3 months, or the first 2 years even. But after that, you think, well, isn't there some sort of trust built on up after a certain time? Anyway, I didn't go into that too long, but yeah. So that's where I am. That's what I'm doing. That's what's going to be happening over the next month for me. Packing up a shitload of things, CDs especially, but also books and clothes. I actually don't have much of anything else, to be honest. As a family, we don't have that much stuff. My son's got a bunch of, kids accumulate toys and whatnot, but I don't have a huge amount of clothes. Most of the books I used to have, I've sold off over the years. So I have books, but not a huge amount. But yeah. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll give some updates on how it's going over the next few months, or weeks, I should say. And then hopefully a grand reveal when everything's set up in the new place, and hopefully this thing survives and that makes it there intact. I can say, here we are in my new home that I own. Well, the bank owns it. I'm paying the bank, but eventually, hopefully, I own it. And yeah, exciting. You can hear it in my voice, can't you? Exciting. We'll leave it there though. So thanks for watching.